Voyager 2, launched in 1977, has been wandering through the darkness of deep space for more than 45 years. And just when most people thought its best days were behind it, something extraordinary happened. A Nobel Prize-winning physicist has just issued a chilling warning. Voyager 2 has made an impossible discovery, one that could rewrite not only our understanding of space, but of reality itself. What did it find? Why is this discovery being kept secret? And could this ancient probe have touched something it wasn't meant to touch? In the early 1970s, NASA scientists discovered something so improbable and on such a cosmic scale that it only happens once every 176 years. The outer planets were aligning. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, giants of gas and ice, would arrange themselves in a perfect gravitational arc, allowing a single spacecraft to propel itself from one to the other, gaining speed without using fuel. They called it the Grand Tour, and it changed everything. Voyager 2 was the first of two probes to take off in 1977, designed to take full advantage of that alignment. With just 68 kilobytes of memory and technology now considered prehistoric, it became the only spacecraft in human history to visit all four worlds. Each flyby revealed the unthinkable: Jupiter's turbulent storms, volcanic moons like Io, Saturn's haunting rings, Titan's murky atmosphere suggesting lakes of methane, Uranus spinning on its side with a strange magnetic field, and Neptune with its dark spot and supersonic winds. The data it returned was not only fascinating, it was transformative. But when it passed Neptune in 1989, many thought its mission was over. Its cameras were turned off, the press left, and Voyager 2 continued its silent journey into the void. What few knew was that its true mission was just beginning. For decades, Voyager 2 flew beyond the known planets, beyond Pluto, beyond the Kuiper Belt, beyond the reach of the Sun's protective magnetic field, into interstellar space. In 2018, NASA confirmed the unthinkable. It had crossed the heliopause, the invisible bubble where the solar wind ends and the rest of the galaxy begins. Only Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 have achieved this. But Voyager 2 had a key advantage. Several of its scientific instruments were still working. And what it began to transmit from that new frontier shook the scientific community. Instead of a quiet, infinite void, it found turbulence, a chaotic sea of particles and fields that did not behave as expected. Plasma density increased instead of decreasing. Cosmic rays shot up in ways that defied standard models, and magnetic fields twisted in impossible directions. It was clear, interstellar space was not empty. It was alive, changing, responding. But what was most unsettling was what happened next. A flurry of data that contradicted the known laws of physics, forcing even the most skeptical scientists to question everything, including a renowned physicist who had previously dismissed the idea of an anomalous zone at the edge of the heliosphere. Until now. In early 2024, Voyager 2 transmitted a data packet that was immediately classified as irregular. At first, NASA thought it was another technical glitch, common in a spacecraft powered by decaying plutonium and decades-old software. But when the Deep Space Network decoded the signal, it became clear that this was no mistake. The records showed a burst of high-frequency electromagnetic activity, too structured to be random and too intense to come from the spacecraft itself. Sensors detected a spike in plasma oscillations and, most puzzlingly, a change in background radiation that suggested localized curvature of spacetime. Let's pause there. Localized curvature of spacetime, recorded by a 45-year-old probe, billions of kilometers from Earth, with no black hole, no neutron star, no nearby massive bodies. According to Einstein's equations, that should be impossible. And yet, the data was consistent. The award-winning physicist, whose name is being kept secret for security reasons, reviewed the data and issued a brief but chilling comment. "This is not a natural region of space. There is something going on here." NASA remained silent. There were no public statements, and Voyager 2 continued on its way, now more closely monitored than ever. Was this the first time we had detected an artificial gravitational signature in space? Or had Voyager 2 entered a region where the universe, or something within it, was building something? From the beginning, Voyager 2 was more than a machine. It was a message. On its side, it carries the Golden Record, a 12-inch gold-plated disc with music, greetings in 55 languages, sounds of nature, and a map showing the location of Earth. Carl Sagan called it a bottle thrown into the cosmic ocean. But what if that bottle was found? What if the recent signal from Voyager 2 wasn't a discovery, but a response? The plasma structure, the change in space-time, the sudden alterations in the signal's orientation. These weren't isolated glitches. They occurred in sequence, following a pattern. And if something found Voyager 2, if something read the Golden Record, deciphered it, understood it, then this would not be the last message we receive. It could be the first. And the physicists' warning was not out of fear. It was out of preparation. Because what Voyager 2 has just found could prove that we are not alone in this part of the galaxy. Worse still, we may have knocked on a door and someone knocked back. Shortly after the anomaly was detected, a curious pattern emerged, not in what Voyager was transmitting, but in what it stopped transmitting. During the days around that strange signal, several key instruments stopped sending data. No cosmic rays, no plasma, no magnetic fields. It was as if it had entered a vacuum where reality itself shut down. And most disturbing of all, when the data returned, the transmission frequency had changed. Slightly, but enough for the engineers to notice. It wasn't programmed. It wasn't ordered. It wasn't planned. That change was so precise, so mathematically intentional, that some experts suggested it had been an external correction, as if something had adjusted the signal from outside. We're talking about a spacecraft older than the internet, suddenly operating as if something were calibrating its transmission from outside. And the inevitable question was, who or what? Within NASA and in international astrophysics circles, a rift began to form. On one side were the traditionalists, engineers and scientists who said that everything had a natural explanation. Maybe a burst of cosmic rays, maybe interstellar turbulence. Their position was simple. Space is weird, but that doesn't mean it's intelligent. On the other side, a growing group of dissident scientists, some retired, others still active, were no longer so quick to dismiss implications. Among them was the Nobel physicist who, according to leaks, said off the record, "Either this is a new form of energy interaction, or Voyager 2 has been tampered with. In either case, we have crossed a threshold beyond human science." Rumors began to circulate. A private group of independent researchers with anonymous funding had begun to create simulation models to replicate the signal patterns. Some of these models allegedly generated results similar to non-human logical systems, such as a mathematical language buried in noise. But here's the chilling part. None of them could replicate the anomaly with current physics. In other words, something in that signal defies not only our understanding, but the very tools we use to understand. While publicly everything remained scientific, privately, the tone changed. Intelligence agencies, including the U.S. Department of Defense and foreign counterparts, began closely monitoring Voyager's communications. Internal memos described the event as a possible extraterrestrial signal of unknown origin and intent. Why so much interest in an old probe? Because if the signal was not natural, and if it is evidence of intelligence, then we are no longer talking about science. We are talking about first contact. And that has geopolitical implications. Think about it. A probe with Earth's coordinates, DNA diagrams, images of our species, and greetings in 55 languages may have just made contact with something. And now it's behaving abnormally. Governments began to wonder, what if they can trace the probe back to us? What if this is just the beginning of a chain reaction that we can't control? NASA hasn't confirmed anything, but the agency's sudden silence, coupled with increased security around Voyager's data, has fueled the fire. Because if they're not hiding anything, why does it look like they are? As scientists and governments debate the technical and political implications, a deeper, more unsettling question arises. Are we psychologically prepared to accept that we are not alone? For decades, we have looked up at the sky and asked, is there anyone out there? And maybe. The answer came from a small ship powered by decaying plutonium, floating beyond the influence of the sun. And if it really did make contact, we must face the consequences. Not just scientific ones, spiritual ones too, existential ones. Who are we if we are no longer the most intelligent species we know? What happens to our cultures, religions, ideas, politics, if we know we're part of something bigger? Because that's what this discovery suggests. Not that aliens are knocking on our door, but that perhaps we knocked on theirs, and they're deciding whether to open it. Voyager 2 was never designed to find anything. It wasn't a search probe. It had no radar. It was a silent messenger, sent into the void with a simple purpose: to tell the universe that we exist. And now, maybe they answered us. Whether it was a gravitational distortion, a structured frequency, or something that doesn't fit into any human category, one thing is certain. Voyager 2 did something no spacecraft has ever done before. It crossed the edge of the known universe and found that the universe was looking back at us. We like to think that space is a cold, empty, beautiful, indifferent ocean. But maybe it's not. Maybe, just maybe, there are currents, watchers, architects, and maybe we've been grazing them for longer than we imagined. A Nobel Prize winner has already sounded the alarm. The data is there. The silence is louder than any denial. And the real question now is not whether we are alone. It is, are we ready not to be? Because Voyager 2 is no longer just a machine floating in space. It is a witness, a key, and maybe, just maybe, a door we've already opened. Now tell us, what do you think Voyager 2 found? Was it just a glitch in old hardware? Or the first sign of a cosmic intelligence we've been trying to ignore? Leave us your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more revelations from the edge of the known universe.